Good evening, good evening, good evening again, folks. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but before we do, the usual disclaimers. If you are unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics. In it, they interviewed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so-called, behavior modification program. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center does not want you to read that article so much. They threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic refused, so folks, you know the drill. Please read the article, share it on all your social media. Also included in there is NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding just in case the JRC actually sees through with their threat. All right, folks, the trigger warnings. Sorry, I'm a little tired. If you are, good Lord, folks, sorry I can't brain today. When we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you do got young children present, please make sure to utilize those headphones. Trigger warning 2, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously parental supervision is very much advised, all right? Okay, so where we left off. As another example, the commenter argues that we have identified the risk suicidality based on anecdotes from individuals who were subject to ESDs and that suicidality was not related specifically to the ESD application. So what the commenter is trying to say here is, well, but they're disabled, they're troubled, they don't know what's best for them. We do, you know? And it's not our device that made them suicidal. No, Judge Rotenberg Center. On that, you are actually correct. It's your whole fucked up system that makes them suicidal. The medical model makes us suicidal. The way neurotypical society looks at, treats us, makes us suicidal. All right? We know going in, folks, going in, that the odds are stacked against us. And not every single one of us is like me that will just look that person in the eye and say, hold my beer. Okay? We got a lot. People are different, all right? I do not believe it is the ESD application alone that is responsible for that suicidality. I believe it is the combination of aversive therapy and psychological torture and abuse that the JRC constantly put those kids through, the psychological terror that they constantly have them in, that would make any logical person, let alone a neurodivergent, suicidal. Okay? To sit there and say, but it's not the device, you know? That's a part of the entire fucked up system that the kids have to endure every single day in that place that causes the suicidality. When you can believe that you're going to be shocked any moment, or that your best friend next to you can be tortured next. When you are watching people screaming on the floor, begging for mercy, and you have a compassionate heart, guess what? It's going to affect you. If you will talk to any veteran, I will point to my brother. My brother was there at Fort Hood at the Fort Hood massacre. There. He saw it happen. Are you going to tell me that the very obvious PTSD that can result for being in such a traumatic event is not going to affect him because he wasn't the one that shot? Same thing, folks. We have extensive research on what psychological torture and abuse does to folks. The JRC applies physical as well as psychological torture. In fact, they use their assessments to find out what is going to traumatize the student the most. We know this because we've read their own materials on the subject. All right? Yeah. So, no, an application of a GED alone cannot be argued 100% to be the cause of that suicidality. It is a part of one of the most painful physically aspects of the most dangerous part of an entire psychological torture program that is designed to traumatize us into non-emotional robots. Okay? And I thought I wasn't going to rant. The comments highlights an individual who experienced suicidal ideation, yet later credited use of the SD for saving their life by replacing what the commenter describes as ineffective and harmful psychotropic medication. Again, we read that particular comment. I cannot take a comment to heart that was made during the FDA hearings when they were actually wearing said device while giving it, with the staff member, as always, 3 feet behind the little remote with their picture on it and a button. Okay? Tell them our propaganda word for word or else. All right? Now let's speak logically. I'm a logical, analytical creature, after all, and always have been. This is why certain members of my family tend to not like to be around me very much. Sad but true. Would you, if you are suffering from suicidal thoughts, be more or less likely to commit suicide if during that time period you were also being shocked nonstop at different periods, never knowing when the next one was going to come, while being within the grasp of those thoughts? Let's speak logic here. Would that make you more or less likely to commit suicide? Because left to one's devices after such so-called treatment, I know what the fuck I would do. And it wouldn't be grateful for life-saving torture, for God's sake. Okay? Some NTs who believe this crap use your heads and logic challenge failed. To support this risk of ESDs for SIB or AB, We explained in the proposed rule that experts in the field of behavioral science, including members of the panel and state agencies that regulate ESDs, indicate that the devices have been associated with short and long-term trauma, including suicidal ideation. Thank you. Notice they talk about being associated with and not the direct cause of, because it's only a part, a horrific, barbaric part of the insane treatment program that they have those kids go under. Okay? Given that ESDs can also contribute to stress, anxiety, learned helplessness, post-traumatic stress reactions, among other outcomes, we do not believe that it is reasonable to conclude that the risks presented by ESDs are unrelated to suicidal ideation. Thank you. So the commenter is mincing words here first. They've done that a lot throughout this entirety of reading their comments, haven't they? Talk about Kool-Aid drinkers. But they're not directly causing that suicidal ideation. That was already there. It doesn't cause it. No, it's the entire system of aversive, physical, violent so-called therapy that could make any human being, forget we're disabled for a minute, any human being undergoing that kind of treatment, you're going to probably get suicidal. That's called logic and reasoning, something this world is rapidly losing, much to my horror, I'm afraid. By trying to say, but it didn't directly cause, yeah, you see where I'm going here, right, folks? The fact that it is one of the many contributing factors due to the very violent, barbaric, medieval type of tactics that they use and call medicine does not mean that the GED gets a free pass. Okay? Such as the people I argue with day after day after day. And I may not look at folks, but I feel many days because of this crap. And just the willful, angry, victim blaming stupid that the majority of us have to deal with on a daily basis. Mentally, I feel like I'm 85, 90 years old. We're going to go ahead and close on that, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So, folks, if you could, please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the comments. I appreciate your time this evening. And as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. I'll see you in a few minutes.